make a narrative as if like I'm scared of. I think Devin's a tremendous fighter. Do I think Devin Haney can beat me? Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm on a different level than everybody.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to boxing, because Devin, he's a boxer.
It's on him. You know what I mean? It's on him. He knows that he's going to get this fade sooner or later. So it's only a matter of time. Obviously, we can't go down. You know, we can't go down to 135. So, you know, he would have to come up. And, you know, he can get this work anytime. He ready.
I see greatness, man. I see greatness. Shakur practically beat him with one hand, man. That jab, man. Most important hand you have, man. You know? And he looked good doing it, sharp. You know what I mean? Distance. He did everything, man.
Shakur Stevenson is reportedly preparing for a possible showdown with Devin Haney at the 140 pounds division. Reports suggest he has no issue accepting rehydration terms and remains fully convinced that his boxing ability is superior to anyone standing across the ring.
All of these guys, if y'all want me to come to 147, I'm coming there with rehydration clause. I don't even do that. Yeah. But why am I going up to these guys' weight classes if I'm not playing?
Devin Haney has repeatedly stated that a fight with Shakur Stevenson is inevitable. He continues to express his desire to make the matchup happen, showing complete confidence and making it clear that he has no intention of avoiding the challenge.
At 135, you can't, you know, say your name without saying Shakur to your female tank, right? It just is what it is. Is that fight going to ever happen? Would it ever happen against you and Shakur?
100%, yeah. I think so. I think it,
you think Shakur will grow into whatever weight you're in?
We're all of us is close to the same size. You know, we're all growing together. We're all like, you know, getting bigger. Well, so, and it's only so many guys, like y'all said, it's only so many guys that we could make big money and people want to see the fights. Which even though I know that they making new guys, it's guys like Kermel, Abdullah, all these guys want to come up too. So eventually they gonna be there too. But I think that a fight with Shakur is very much possible. We try to make.
Shakur Stevenson insists he has never feared facing Devin Haney. However, he believes Haney's camp could eventually try to create the narrative that he was the one avoiding the fight despite his willingness to step into the ring.
Okay.
Devin Haney's probably, to me, I don't think it's hit its point yet, but I think in the next year or two it'll hit a point where it's like the world is gonna demand. You know what I'm saying? I can see the trajectory feels like it could meet like that.
I would love this fight. But look, you gotta watch what you say with like, and this is not even Devin's fault, because Devin is very respectful of my game and I'm respectful of his game. He's a good fighter. But his fans will clip and twist and turn things into something that is not. So I try to be real careful on what I say.
True. This is guy Jay on Twitter. He a big Haney fan. He be always clipping and changing stuff, Jay.
Yeah, they gonna make a narrative as if like I'm scared of. I think Devin's a tremendous.
According to Stevenson, he operates on a different level than the rest of the division. He is convinced that no current opponent has the skills to defeat him, while also believing Devin Haney lacks the power necessary to stop him inside the distance.
He's a fucking stone cold killer who's just gonna go in there and try to knock me the fuck out.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to outbox me. I'm the greatest boxer. How do you... So that's how I feel about the fight.
Yeah.
But it all gotta make sense from a business standpoint. I don't like getting up here and negotiating against myself. And,
for sure.
But for me, I'm willing
to. But do you see it as
happen.
it being that could, you know, like we always said, the Four Kings, even though you wasn't a part of it, the whole plot is like at the end of the road, there's gonna be two guys left standing, and that's the big fight. Do you see that as that's potentially what that could be?
I'm a bad motherfucker.
For Devin Haney, this fight represents another opportunity to prove his place among boxing's elite. He continues pursuing the biggest names available with Shakur Stevenson, remaining one of the opponents he wants most as he looks to strengthen his legacy.
are not possible, would you be more inclined just to move up to 140?
Yeah, you know, if I can't get those fights next, or it doesn't make sense for it to be next, I'll probably go to 140, test it out, see how I feel at the weight at 140, and then when the time is right, then, you know, I'll defend my belt at 135. We'll just see, though. I got to go back and talk with the team and see what makes the most sense. That's
Bill Haney has made his position perfectly clear, saying their team has no plans to move back down in weight. Any fighter hoping to face Devin, according to Bill, must be willing to compete at 140 pounds.
I'm undisputed, yet they didn't mention the franchise belt, which directly impacted Devin's career early on, right? And it seemed like, I was saying this on my live earlier, you tell me what you think about this, but it seems to me like there's a lot of people that have tried to block y'all ambition, right? Between you signed to the wrong company, you know, Loma not taking the Devin fight, Tio not taking the Devin fight, Rolly saying he just don't want to fight Devin. Do you see that? Like, how do you see that? You know, as far as like, people know you're ambitious, they know you want to be unified, they know you want to be undisputed, so they put all these obstacles up and they make it hard for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. I think it's been historic in a way.
He also emphasized that the matchup can happen whenever the other side is prepared, insisting there are no unnecessary delays from their camp, and that the door remains open for the fight.
We must keep our composure and our patience and understand that it's part of the process when you're that good. You know what I mean? We can't say it any other way. You know, they're running out of narratives. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's what the people want to see. We don't never say, okay, you know, well, this guy has done something wrong or he did bad business. So, you know, we'll never do it. Obviously, you know, when we go through negotiations and we spend time in there, whether it's put something together for Richard Hitchinson, for him to come back later and to say, you know, yeah, I want that fight. Well, when we were trying to make the fight, we couldn't. You didn't want to negotiate. You went somewhere else. When we were negotiating with Shakur Stevenson, instead of him negotiating with us, he said that he's going to.
Tim Bradley believes Shakur Stevenson has the talent to build a career that could eventually rival or even surpass the historical impact of Terrence Crawford. Crawford already owns one of the greatest resumes in modern boxing as a champion across multiple weight divisions, achievements that secured his place among the sport's all-time greats. Bradley's point, however, is not about matching Crawford's exact accomplishments or collecting the same number of titles. Instead, he believes Shakur is entering an era with greater opportunities. Bradley argues that boxing politics prevented Crawford from securing several defining fights earlier in his career. If influential figures capable of bringing rival promoters together had existed during Crawford's rise, blockbuster matchups against names like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence Jr., and Dennis Yugas could have happened much sooner, potentially making Crawford's legacy even greater.
I feel like Shakur, just like Crawford was with me, Shakur has the ability to pass Terrence Crawford. Listen up. Now, not in the sense of becoming three-time undisputed and, you know, going up to, you know, that many weight classes. Not from that standpoint. You know, he already has 4 weight classes. Crawford is a 5-weight division champion. But in a sense of having the opportunities that Crawford didn't have. You know, Crawford would have been even bigger than what he is if the politics didn't play into the sport at the time. And now that, you know, you have guys like Turki Al-Sheikh that are able to bridge that gap between promoters and, you know, make these big.
Because of today's boxing landscape, Bradley believes Shakur is in an ideal position to build an extraordinary resume. The talent spread across the 130 and 135 pounds divisions gives him access to a long list of elite opponents. Potential fights against Devin Haney, Lamont Roach, Oshawa Foster, Gary Russell Jr., Dalton Smith, Ryan Garcia, and several other top contenders could shape an unforgettable career. Bradley believes Stevenson possesses not only the technical ability to compete with every one of those fighters, but also the potential to defeat them, creating a legacy that could one day stand alongside or perhaps even above that of Terrence Crawford.
Turki was around when Crawford was on his climb. You know, when Crawford couldn't get those big fights with like Thurman Danny Garcia and Ugas, and he got it later with Sean Porter, but it was later. But imagine if Crawford was able to have that run, and Earl Spence, Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman, the list goes on. If he would have had all those guys on his ledger, imagine how big Crawford would be. He would be even bigger than what he is today. Bigger than what he is today. So with that being said, with these fighters hovering around 135, these talented fighters, hovering around 135, 130, guys like, Oshaki Foster, like I mentioned, going to go up to 135. He's big enough to go to 130.
Of course, major obstacles still stand in the way. But whenever these elite fighters compete, it becomes obvious just how difficult they are to beat. Setting controversy aside, both have consistently demonstrated championship-level ability. As discussions surrounding the matchup intensified, Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson quickly exchanged public responses, adding more excitement to the rivalry. Their back and forth reminded fans of the early conversation surrounding boxing so-called for Kings 2.0, featuring Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Gervonta Davis, a modern comparison to the legendary era of Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Roberto Duran.
Any going to concede to that? I doubt it. So there's a major obstacle in the way. But nonetheless, as you watch these two fighters fight, you can clearly see, outside of cheating, they're more than likely not going to lose. Right? With that said, Devin Haney immediately responds to Shakur. Shakur responds to Devin. Right? Again, we had the initial four kings. It was Devin, Ryan, T.O., and Tank Davis. Right? It was supposed to be the four kings 2.0, from the Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard.
One fascinating comparison often involves Wilfred Benitez, whose achievements are frequently overlooked despite defeating Roberto Duran during that historic era. Duran earned a memorable victory over Sugar Ray Leonard, but suffered decisive defeats against Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler, and Benitez. Even with those accomplishments, Benitez rarely receives the recognition given to the other legends. Bradley believes a similar situation has surrounded Shakur Stevenson. Much of the spotlight has traditionally gone to Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and Teofimo Lopez, while Stevenson remained in the background. That perception has started changing after his impressive victory over Teofimo Lopez. At the same time, Tank Davis's legal issues and uncertainty surrounding future fights have created new opportunities while reshaping the lightweight landscape.
That four-king era, but nobody mentions Wilfred Benitez. And the fact remains is Wilfred Benitez beat Roberto Duran as well. And Roberto Duran is 1-4 against those guys. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard the first time. Outside of that, Roberto Duran, he lost to he quit against Sugar Ray Leonard. He got knocked out brutally by Tommy Hearns. He got outboxed by Marvin Hagler and outclassed by Wilfred Benitez. Right? But he's overshadowing Wilfred Benitez. And I felt like these guys, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank, and T.O., overshadowed Shakur Stevenson. And now Shakur Stevenson has shined the light by dominating Teofimo.
Bernie the boxer also shared his thoughts on a potential Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney showdown by highlighting everything both fighters have already accomplished. According to Bernie, Shakur has built an outstanding resume, becoming a 4-division world champion, a 2-time lineal champion, and a 2-time Ring Magazine champion. He also captured unified championships at 130 pounds while defeating elite opponents such as Teofimo Lopez, a fighter widely respected for elevating his performances on the biggest stages.
Conor Ben comes into the ring, they talk, have some words, but Shakur Stevenson said, I want to put that same rehydration clause you put on Chris Eubank. Tell me, what did you get out of that moment in the ring?
Well, I heard on the press conference where I think it was his manager said that, that was a clown move, but I think Shakur Shakur invited that. I don't even know if I would have said all that about kind of being right then. But I think he really wants that fight. He really wants the money for the fight. He been saying that, but now he came through victorious. I think he really wants that money for that fight. He wants the money.
Shakur Stevenson recently delivered a dominant display against Teofimo Lopez, and Bernie praised the performance as something truly special. What impressed him even more was the fact that Stevenson competed while dealing with an injured hand for much of the fight. Even under those circumstances, his jab remained sharp, accurate, and perfectly timed, allowing him to dictate distance and completely control the pace. Every movement inside the ring reflected elite technical ability, leaving Lopez unable to find consistent success despite his experience and athleticism. Critics who once questioned Shakur's resume were forced to acknowledge that he had answered many of those doubts with an exceptional performance.
Accomplishments, because now Shakur is a 4-weight world champion. Devin is a 3-weight world champion. Devin was undisputed, but now Shakur is a 2-time lineal champion. So he's a 2-time Ring Magazine winner. 2-time unified champion. If you want to add the ring, as far as with the WBO, he was unified at 130. So he's a 2-time unified champion, 2-time lineal champion. Beat a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who rises to the occasion. Had a close fight with George Kambosos. You can make a claim that he was fighting out of frustration or out of emotion, and that was it. He was in his prime too, Josh Taylor seemed to be drained at 140. Not taken away from Devin, but he was already moving up to 47, they were saying. Lomachenko was a little old.
Despite discomfort in his left hand, Stevenson maintained complete control from the opening bell until the final round. He relied heavily on his outstanding jab, while limiting the use of the injured hand whenever possible. Bernie even suggested that Shakur likely had the ability to stop the fight had he chosen to push for it. Instead, Stevenson displayed patience, ring intelligence, and composure by managing the contest strategically. Fans witnessed a true boxing clinic as he once again demonstrated that elite fighters don't need perfect circumstances to dominate. Skill, discipline, and mental toughness were more than enough for Stevenson to showcase why many consider him one of boxing's brightest stars.
I see greatness, man. I see greatness. Shakur practically beat him with one hand, man. That jab, man. Most important hand you have, man. And he looked good doing it, sharp. You know what I mean? Distance. He did everything, man. He did everything right, man.
A lot of people thought it would be a tough fight because Teo's athletic, Teo's experienced, he's fought on a high level. And, they were critical of Shakur. He ain't fought nobody in this and that. Yeah. He made Teo look like everybody else.
Made him look like an amateur. Made him look like an amateur. Yes.
Now, technically, what did you see? Right? Where did Teo go wrong in that fight?
Where he went wrong?
Yeah.
Fighting Shakur. That's where he went wrong. Fighting Shakur. I knew he just running his mouth. He just was talking, man. I knew that from the beginning, even the time.
The fight between Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney remains one of the most anticipated matchups in boxing today. Both athletes possess world-class speed, technique, and determination, creating the ingredients for a truly unforgettable contest. Supporters continue comparing their styles, strengths, and previous performances, while debating who would ultimately emerge victorious. Every exchange could prove decisive, with the outcome carrying enormous implications for both careers. Shakur's defensive brilliance and technical precision, matched against Devin's athleticism, movement, and experience, will create a fascinating battle capable of producing one of the defining fights.
Shakur, no, you could have got stopped and shit, but Shakur hurt his left hand. His left hand was hurt. If you notice, he was using that jab a lot.
Yeah, jab and then the hook.
And he threw the left hand every now and then. Because I was screaming out. Everybody said they heard me in Philly.
Yo, we can hear you on the TV.
Yeah, that's my young buck. You know what I mean? And I was telling him, throw that straight left hand. Then I noticed when he did throw it, he wasn't throwing it real hard. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But he looked spectacular, man. You know what I mean? You can't ask for nothing more, man. And with me, I don't care about what people say, man. They always want to talk about you and say, oh, he should have did this, he should have did that. He did everything that he was supposed to do, and he did it.
That wraps up today's discussion. Be sure to stay connected for more boxing news, analysis, and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
That even remotely sparks my interest for Shakur Stevenson is this guy right here, Devin Haney. Look at them. They're the same size. Obviously, Devin's moved up to 147. Shakur demands a catch weight. We'll see if Devin goes for the bait, because I think Shakur Stevenson, there's no doubt about it, he has the skills to compete at 147, to be 5 weight division champion. I feel like that